Dream Team, it's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with the scary truth about Max Verstappen. Nobody is noticing. Before we dive in, make sure you guys subscribe, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested, and let's hear it.
See, there were so many different things going on between those two drivers. You could almost cut the tension with a knife.
Back of his teammate with every meter that we run. Now we're going to get DRS, and there will be nothing that Perez can do. Max Verstappen takes the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix.
He's braking wheel to wheel with his teammate. Verstappen gets the best traction, and it took a few.
Max Verstappen totally owned the 2023 season, smashing some seriously historic records. In fact, Red Bull could even clinch the Constructors' title with just the Dutchman, who racked up more points than Mercedes, the second best.
That's legit crazy for one driver to just basically clinch the title by himself. The Constructors' Championship by himself is wild.
Team. And this isn't Max's first rodeo. He's been setting records for years. Since he burst into the scene, Verstappen has been sending a scary message to the next generation of drivers. His journey has been like no other driver who has reached the pinnacle of motorsport. Right from the start, he showed promise. Believe it or not, he didn't even bother with F2 before making his debut in the top tier. With just a year of single-seater experience in the European Formula 3, Red Bull offered him a seat in F1 with Toro Rosso for 2015. Max hopped into an F1 car for the first time during the free practice sessions at the 2014 Japanese Grand Prix, becoming the youngest driver to join a race weekend at just 17 years and 3 days old. Then, in his official debut at the Australian Grand Prix in 2015, he became the youngest driver to compete in F1 at 17 years and 166 days, smashing the record held by the Spanish driver Jaime Alguersuari by almost 2 years. Actually, this record's gonna be etched in stone because the minimum age to race in F1 is now 18. And even though many thought Verstappen's stint in Formula 1 would be as brief as Alguersuari's due to his early start, the Dutchman has proved everyone wrong. He hasn't stopped breaking records while achieving success.
Nah, that Joker he finna win this 2024 championship easily, which would make him a four-time champion. And then, I don't see Red Bull's dominance being challenged for a while, but you never know. So I won't say anything for 2025, but I'll say 2024 is wrapped up already.
Gone are the days when he was labelled as an aggressive driver, a trait he already displayed in karting. It led to some gnarly accidents like the Monaco one in 2015 where he took out Grosjean and ended up hitting the barriers real hard. His driving has evolved, polishing up his skills while keeping his innate speed, gaining a cool head and an incredible racing IQ. Today, he's the real deal, one of the most well-rounded drivers ever. Verstappen already shocked the world in his debut with Red Bull, snagging the win at the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix. At just 18 years and 228 days, he became the youngest race winner ever. This proved that with a competitive car, he was on par with the fastest, destined for greatness. Max quickly became the leader of Red Bull, and when his car matched up to the Mercedes, he ended Lewis Hamilton and the Silver Arrow's reign in 2021, which had been
oh my God, one of the greatest years of F1 since at least since I've gotten the chance to start watching. That year was pure insanity. That year was pure craziness. That year was a story. It was one of the greatest stories in F1, dog. Yeah. And then I guess Max just hasn't looked back ever since.
Going strong since the start of the hybrid era in 2014. He bagged his first world title and the winning streak didn't fizzle out. He clinched 2 more in 2022 and 2023, making him a triple world champ at just 26. 2023, in fact, was one of the most dominant seasons in history. Verstappen won 19 out of 22 races. With an 86.36% win rate, he left Alberto Ascari's 1952 record of 75% in the dust. Plus, he notched up 21 podiums, beating his own 2021 record of 18 and pulled off 10 back-to-back wins, breaking Sebastian Vettel's 2013 streak of 9. Seriously, if we started listing all the records Max has trashed, we'd be here all day. By the end of 2023, with 54 victories, he's sitting pretty as the 3rd winningest driver ever. Just behind me.
Look at Lewis Hamilton, bro. He's got almost double that. Like, the absolute legendary career that he's had. But if 3-4 years, he might take that top spot. Gosh, he's about to take that number 2 spot this
Or
year.
victories, he's sitting pretty as the third winningest driver
never
ever.
mind, no, not this year. 2-3 years for Mike too.
Just behind Michael Schumacher with 91 and Lewis Hamilton with 103. And get this, he's only 26. Talk about making history. Even though his first title took its sweet time, coming in his 7th Formula One season, the fact that he kicked off so young has set him up to break all sorts of records. And the scariest part? He's got plenty of room to keep smashing them. At his age, Michael Schumacher had one less world championship, and it took him another 5 years to snag the next one. On the other hand, at 26, Hamilton had just one title, and his stats were nowhere near the Dutchman's. Both Hamilton and Schumacher hit lucky number 7 at 35, after enduring some dry seasons. Verstappen has more than enough time to blow past their records if he keeps racing at that age, making him destined to be the greatest driver in history. The only one even coming close to his numbers so far is Sebastian Vettel, who secured his 4th and final world championship at 26. Verstappen is in a league of his own, and that's where the scary truth lies. He's raised the bar so high that everything else seems ordinary. What used to be considered young, winning a race at 22, now looks like old news. And the worst part? He's wrecked all the young driver academies, especially Red Bulls. Since Max rolled into Red Bull, he's been involved in every major driver decision the brand has made since, and you bet every flop that followed. His debut basically kicked Kvyat out the door after just 4 races in 2016, demoting him back to Toro Rosso. Kvyat's career never really bounced back from that, losing his seat at the end of 2017, only to get a second chance in 2019 and 2020 because Red Bull couldn't find anyone else. Verstappen quickly took control of Red Bull, forcing Daniel Ricciardo's departure at the end of 2018. Pierre Gasly, after a decent season with Toro Rosso, was Ricciardo's replacement, but the energy drink brand didn't even keep him for 7 races. Realizing he was constantly outpaced by the Dutchman,
they gave up Pierre Gasly so goddamn fast. They gave up on that man. 7 races is crazy. To give up on somebody that quickly is wild.
And demoting him back to Toro Rosso as with Kvyat. Same story with the next guy, Alexander Albon, who, though retained by Red Bull until the end of 2020, never came close to matching Max's performance. Both Gasly and Albon, chewed up and spit out by Red Bull, found new life away from the energy drink brand, showing that with the right training and some time, they're pretty damn good drivers. And here's the kicker, it's all part of the Verstappen effect, where young drivers get roasted if they can't hang with a Dutchman, wrecking careers in the blink of an eye, and causing a real headache for the new blood in the driver's seat.
It ain't right, cause can't nobody hang with Max Verstappen, bro. It ain't. Even Sergio Checo, who's finished number 2 in the driver championship last year, who's so far this year finished number 2 in the 2 races we have so far, he can't keep up with Max's pace, bro. Max is just, he's on a different level.
This has been particularly noticeable at Toro Rosso and AlphaTauri. After Carlos Sainz bounced from Toro Rosso in late 2017, Red Bull was scratching their heads for a replacement. They ended up pulling in Brendan Hartley, a 28-year-old dude who used to be in Red Bull's young driver program when he was younger. Despite doing well in other racing scenes, it was pretty clear he wasn't Red Bull material. They just stuck him in the seat temporarily, and then Kvyat took over, a guy who also didn't have a future in the F1 game. Only Yuki Tsunoda has been the sole driver since then, groomed by Red Bull in the lower categories and brought in young with a goal of long-term development. After Pierre Gasly left AlphaTauri at the end of 2022, and with no obvious replacement in sight, they sent for Nick de Vries, another 28-year-old with a track record in other competitions, but not exactly destined for F1 stardom. De Vries got a whopping 10 races before they pulled the plug.
I got rid of Nick for a Red Bull. Like, if you don't come in and perform to our standards and our expectations, you go very quickly.
And who stepped in? None other than Daniel Ricciardo, the guy who, funny enough, left Red Bull when Max Verstappen outshone him. The story speaks for itself. And over in the A-team, things haven't been looking up either when it comes to finding someone for the seat. After Alex Albon bailed, Red Bull snagged Sergio Perez. He's the first driver since Mark Webber who didn't come up through the Red Bull Young Driver program. A big old fail for the academy. The Mexican has played his role in the team, but like the rest, he's not even close to keeping up with the Dutchman.
No.
That's why Max Verstappen's presence is putting immense pressure on young drivers, and in turn, not only challenging Red Bull's Young Driver program, but also messing with other teams' programs, where you can see his influence too. Verstappen's dishing out a major lesson in F1, but it seems like not many are catching on. Truth is, maybe your age doesn't matter that much. It's more about how long you've been in the game. As drivers like Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Lando Norris, and even Gasly and Albon themselves are showing now. The Dutchman's ace card is his crazy early rise, allowing him to be a highly experienced driver at a ridiculously young age. But here's the thing, most people just look at how young he was when he started racking up wins, totally overshadowing other drivers in the numbers game. It's a topic that doesn't get much airtime, but it definitely should. Understanding the time it takes to adjust and proper development is crucial. Otherwise, you end up wrecking young drivers' careers by throwing them into the deep end and expecting them to perform like seasoned pros in no time, which is detrimental. Verstappen's case is an exception, but it should not be considered as the norm. And speaking of wrecking things, we can't forget the day Verstappen wrecked all his rivals in the race that convinced Red Bull to buy him. Hit that click right here and grab your popcorn for an epic tale. Let the show begin.
I will say that I knew basically all this about Max Verstappen though. That's all we got. Make sure y'all subscribe, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal, out.